like to invite Rear Admiral Taylor to the podium to preside over this retirement ceremony. Rear Admiral Kenneth A. Taylor serves as the commander of the 13th Coast Guard District, headquartered in Seattle, Washington. As district commander, he is responsible for the U.S. Coast Guard operations covering 4 states, more than 4,400 miles of coastline, 600 miles of inland waterways, and a 125-mile international border with Canada. Prior to this assignment, Rear Admiral Taylor served as the Assistant Commandant for Resources and the Chief Financial Officer for the Coast Guard, where he was responsible for Coast Guard financial, management, and resource activities, including planning, programming, budgeting, and execution of the service's appropriations. He was promoted to flag in March of 2008. Please extend a warm welcome to Rear Admiral Taylor.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can everyone hear me? Up here, you cannot hear at all what this microphone is doing. But it's great to be here today. Senior Chief, thank you for that introduction. Chief, it's great to be here and be part of this. There's that smile. I typically, as I get ready to officiate, perform, as some might call it, whether it's retirements, changes of command, other things, I encourage those involved to remember that the day should be special. Special days are marked by smiles. And when that picture, that moment happens to smile, I doubt I will have any problem with good Chief here in that department today. Now I have to start, since Chief is our guest of honor. Charlene, he said you're supposed to be sitting at the end here, so we want you to move down. He saved that seat for you, okay? But it's great to be here. Suzy, thank you for being here. I know you folks are in the last throes of getting ready to move back east. New York, I don't know exactly why, but you're going to New York, that's okay. Dad, Douglas, thank you for being here. It was wonderful meeting you last night. You should be very, very proud of Robert. Paula, I loved your story about that ferry and the maritime story last night. So that was wonderful. Suzy's brother, Wally, his daughter, Natalie, thank you for being here as well. And all the other family members that are here. All the shipmates and friends of the Chief and Suzy from the Seattle area. All the old shipmates who are here that have served in previous tours in previous places, or one of the other 2 times you were here in Seattle, and then certainly all of our team here in Seattle today, active duty and reserve, who stand the watch and are here to honor you, and we're ready to take the torch and carry it on from here, Chief. What an incredible career. 20 years, it's gone by like that. I would imagine if you were to reflect, and you will in a little bit, about your thoughts on things that we should take away from today. But it's absolutely incredible how quick that goes. I wanted to focus on 3 things, and Chief, I'm going to start out because I'm not so sure I've ever given you one of my personal coins. Sometimes our senior people never get recognized. They're doing the business, they're making it happen, they're pushing and shoving all the stuff that we need to do to make it happen. And Chief, you're one of those folks, and you always make sure that some of our youngest public affairs specialists and some of those special people out there are getting recognized. So I actually want to start with this recognition, if you join me. And as you know, the 3 words on the back of our coin are 3 watchwords that are all about what we do to live up to our motto here in the 13th District, which is protecting the great Pacific Northwest. It's all about our people. It's all about having pride in what we do each and every day. And it's all about professionalism. Being the best at what we do, no matter what we do in the Coast Guard. So I want you to take my personal coin. Hopefully you will hold on to that along the way, and I'm going to talk about those 3 words over the next few minutes. Congratulations. People. If you know Robert, that's his word, people. Touches everybody's lives in a very special way. The big smile, the big personality, the caring, but not just caring, the demand for people around him to reach for high goals, to aspire to big things. The work you've done in the community here, just in my short time here, our interface with all the things we get to do to showcase the Coast Guard, with the Seahawks, with the Mariners, with the Sounders. You have taken the Coast Guard and put it on the same stage and on par with the other services. And sometimes that's hard to do. We're a small service, lots of people don't know us, and you've been able to get out there and highlight and showcase our people. And that is a very, very big deal. You are one of those people, as I see you do your job, that grabs people and mentors them. You sit down and want to know them at a very personal level, and you want to find out what they want to do. What do they aspire to? Or what are those things that are causing them to have a little bit of trouble, bumps in life? And you help them with those things. And you guide them. And you give them your wisdom, as I expect all Chief Petty Officers to do. But you certainly do that as well as anybody I've seen, Chief. And you are outgoing. You are people's friends. Not only do you set the right example, but you bring people together as part of our Coast Guard family to have a little bit of fun, to tell a little bit of a story so we each learn from each other, and to give people a big hug when they really deserve it. And I really appreciate you doing that, because that is something that we tend to lose in our service sometimes. We get busy, the demands of business start to wear on us, and we need somebody like you to pull us out of that. And remember, what we get to do is so special, and the people we get to do it with are second to none. And thank you from a people perspective. Pride. Just in the short time I've been out here, we have a story that has to be told. Our legacy goes back 160, 170 years here. The first revenue cutter called on the Puget Sound in the mid-1850s. Congress began authorizing and appropriating monies to build a series of lights to guide mariners from San Francisco Bay to the Puget Sound and on to Alaska in the 1850s. And most of our lights out here on the outer coast were built 1850, 1860, 1870, and some of the lights in the inner area of Puget Sound, Straits of Juan de Fuca were built a few years later. And our legacy to the life-saving service. So much a part of our heritage out here, as we keep today the surf community like no other part of the nation does. And you and your team, and under your guidance, have grabbed those stories of our history. You've told them. You've grabbed imagery of today and connected it to our past. So we would all learn. We would all understand those are the people that have done great things that allow us today to do what we do. And the other thing you've done with your team is you've told today's story. As you know, Chief, and we've talked about this, our young folks are out writing the next chapter of our wonderful history that is the United States Coast Guard. And you're helping them take those actions, take those heroics, taking that dedication, that determination, and that passion, and translating it into a format with a picture, the written word, in the social media, to allow people to get it, understand it, and appreciate it. And that is an art that we must keep alive and keep strong, because that's how our heritage will get passed from yesterday to today to tomorrow. And I'm very proud of that, and you should be very proud of that. Finally, professionalism. You're a public affairs specialist. You're the chief. I ask the chief when I have a question in this area because it's complex. You've seen the world change in the way we tell our story and how people ask us about our story. You started when there were dark rooms and film, right? And I hate to say it, but there's a bunch of people in this room that don't know what either of those are anymore. You started before there was an internet, there were blogs, there was Facebook, and there was Twitter. You started at a time when we were very inwardly focused. And we only pushed information out when we had to, when it was scrubbed to the nth degree, and we knew it was 100% the whole story and every bit of the story we wanted to tell. And you've been part of that transformation, and I see it here happen because of your leadership. We lean into all of our information today. We don't know all the facts. but we tell people what we know. You give the public confidence that we know what we're doing, and we're responsive to people that have a right to know and understand how we as the Coast Guard are serving them. That is an incredible transformation. And it's happened in a very quick blink of the eye, 20 years. And you've been part of that for us. Because I think you know what I'm saying. Our culture was not that way when you first started in this business. And we're a different Coast Guard today because of that. And you've played a key role in that. You've served around the country from New York to San Diego to Cleveland to here. Those are AORs, areas of responsibility, that have different challenges, different missions, different demands from the media, and a bunch of different bosses that have different demands for their public affairs staff. I had a chance to talk to some of my peers that know you, have served with you before, and always you have been adaptable and ready to grab all those different factors, put them together to do the right thing, professionally get our story out, or tell our own people what our story is. Because sometimes they don't listen, they don't know, they don't have access to it. And it's important for all of our youngest of folks, and even a few more mature folks like myself, to always be reminded of the things that we have done. And you have done that so exceptionally well. Suzy, thank you for being along for this ride. I know Robert and you met in San Diego, and you joined him for the later parts of this. I know you folks are excited to move back to New York at this point. A big transition. We love having you here as part of our Coast Guard family. And I know you all continue to be very connected. Chief, you know that we're ready to stand the watch. You will be missed, but you have trained that next generation to serve so well. You have mentored them. You've allowed them to grow. And you've done the things that I expect all chiefs to do. You've not been afraid to walk into the boss and tell him what he needs to hear. You've reached across the senior staff and helped each of them do better at what they do. And you've made a real mark on everybody here. Thank you for doing that. We are going to miss you.